everybody. My name is Sarah.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning. So I work with the Blue Sky Festival, and just to give you a little bit of an idea of who we are, we're a 10-day festival that happens in Missoula, Montana, and we have over 200 documentary films this year, which is really exciting, with filmmakers from about 50 different countries. We're so lucky that they come to Missoula and share their films with us, and we're very, very excited to get to share a couple of those with you. So today we have Colleen Harvey here with her film, and she's first going to talk to you a little bit about herself and how she got into filmmaking. Then we'll screen the film and you guys will have an opportunity to ask questions about her process and how this film was created. So I hope you enjoy. Here's Colleen.
Okay, I'm going to step in just 1 second. Hi. Yay. I'm not Colleen. I just want to remind you to mute your microphones while the speaker's speaking, and then if she asks questions or you have questions, you can raise your hand and unmute your microphone at that time. So let's go ahead and get started and hear from Colleen.
Hi guys, I'm the filmmaker talking to you today. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm not from Montana, I'm from Indiana. And then through school, I decided to come to Montana to go to the film school here. Has anyone ever thought about going to film school? Anyone? Okay, cool. Awesome. So the type of films that I like to make are documentary films. Does anybody know what a documentary is or has ever seen a documentary? Remember the title of them? Okay, cool. So what documentary have you seen? Sorry, the kid in the green.
Let's go to Moore first.
Okay.
And any kids in Moore, have you seen a documentary film? And if so, what was it?
Okay, you guys look a little embarrassed. That's okay. Yeah, the girl.
The documentary on Evelyn Cameron just last week.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
How about in Lodge Grass? Who's seen a documentary down there? And the teachers will call on you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay right there. Oh. Seen a documentary? It's more than a game. Yeah.
Okay. About girls' basketball.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, what kind of document? A girl like her.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so they're making documentaries now about sports, about personal stories of people, or just about different issues. And so, like, I like to make mine about environmental issues, and I'll talk to you about, like, how I got into that or how I, like, wanted to tell stories about the environment. So I grew up in Indiana, like I already said, and I grew up on a small farm, and I like really liked animals and all that stuff. And then went to high school and ended up kind of liking science, even though I wasn't really that good at it. Like, I'm not very good at math and science, but I worked really hard in it because I thought it was interesting. And I was like really good at writing. And then from there, I decided to study science in college, even though it wasn't like the thing I was best at. I just thought it was interesting. And so I went to college and I studied environmental science, and that's like dealing with conservation, or like recycling, or cleaning up waterways, that type of stuff. But I, again, like, struggled a bit with it because I'm just, like, not naturally good at science. So I was kind of feeling down after my first year in college and was wondering, like, should I be doing this? I'm not quite sure about it. So then something really great happened. I got an opportunity to go to Costa Rica, which is in Central America. And so, like, they have, like, the rainforest there, and they have, like, the biggest diversity of, like, plants and animals and all that stuff. And I did that through a study abroad scholarship out of college. And when I was there, I found myself just like filming everything, like, you know, whether it was out of like a bus window or, you know, a snake that we saw while hiking, that sort of stuff. And I just like loved it. And I was like, okay, I love science, but I'm gonna like study science in my own way. So from there, I decided to do filmmaking. So when I came back to school, when I came back to college, I began studying film, and they taught me how to use a camera and like all this other equipment, and how to use a camera to tell a story. So like, because I'd always been a writer, like I'd always been good at telling stories. So like stories and science kind of merged together, and from there, yeah, I just loved film and felt like I really fit in with everyone there and with what I was doing, and really loved it. And then after I graduated from my undergrad, I kept going in school. Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. Doing well. Sorry, I saw some people whispering, but it's okay. So then I went to school at Montana State. So Montana State University, and studied science and natural history filmmaking there. So like they're kind of like more of the, when you think of science and natural history filmmaking, you're probably thinking of like Planet Earth or like March of the Penguins or some of those like more basic ones. But I kind of want to do it more involved with like people and nature. And I think that's what my film will show you. Like, I'm more interested in the relationship that humans have with nature, and how maybe we can have a better relationship in the future.
Great. Why don't we see if there's any questions so far
Sure.
about filmmaking, or your journey into. I think it's interesting about science, that you really loved it, but it wasn't your strength, but you're using your science, your love of science in another way. So let's go to Lodgegrass first. Are there any questions right now for Colleen?
Is it hard making film?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but if it's something that you enjoy and something that you're good at, you're going to be a lot better at it than doing something that you don't enjoy and something that you're not good at. So I think for me, it's worth it because I can be like really confident about what I'm doing because I know this is the thing I'm really good at doing. So although it's hard, it's totally worth it to me.
Colleen, what's the hardest part, do you think? Or a couple of hard parts, maybe?
Okay, yeah, I think the hardest part for me is editing. So it's kind of like the paperwork of filmmaking is how I would say it. So like when you're out in the field and filming people, that's super fun. But when you come back and you have like 20 hours of footage and you have to tell maybe a 10 or a 15-minute story, you're going through all the footage and just like trying to find the story in that. So probably editing and trying to be really smart about how you're spending your time in the editing room is the most challenging part.
Really good question, Lodgegrass. How about in more? Do you guys have a question for Colleen?
Okay, cool. Just with the show of hands.
Go ahead.
Oh, you do have a question, yeah.
It takes
Sorry.
about 2 seconds.
Sorry, I forgot about the delay, the web delay. Go ahead, yeah.
What type of camera do you use?
In school now I'm using a C100, but it's a Canon camera, but I started on a 5D Mark II, which is also like a Canon type of photography camera that a lot of people use. But one of our assignments in grad school was to tell a story using just an iPhone camera. And I've shot things on an iPhone that I'll put in my films now just because iPhones can shoot such great quality. And then you guys know, like, with different apps you can download, you can have, like, cool filters and stuff like that. So really you can tell a story on almost anything now. And that's really good for people who want to be filmmakers but need to practice and can't buy, like, a super expensive camera. You can start practicing, with your friends or with someone that you think's interesting that you want to tell a story about just with an iPhone.
Great. Any other questions? Just raise your hands high and I'll call on the school. We good? Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Do you want to go to the film?
Sure, let's go to the film.
All right. You can talk for a minute while I get
Okay.
that ready.
Just with the show of hands, I think this is what I was gonna ask earlier, but has anyone made a film in their class or had to make a little film for something in school? Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I don't know. It's sometimes they make you do that in school. I see one school they've had to do that a lot and one they haven't really had to do that yet. But I don't know. It's kind of like writing a paper. It's just a different way to learn about something. So just was curious.
Good. Do you want to tell a little bit about what we're going to see, the story, a little bit?
Yes, definitely. So when I moved to Montana, I was like, what is like a story that that's only happening here? Because I'm from like Indiana. So I was just reading through the newspaper and I saw a story about falconry or like something about falconry, and I had no idea what that was, but it looked really cool. So from there, I just called up a falconer that someone knew, and yeah, we got in touch, and I made a story about falconry, and that's what you're going to see today.
Okay, let's see if they know what falconry is. Raise your hand if you, at either school, know what falconry is. Oh, Moore's watched a little bit of the trailer, I bet. Okay, Moore, let's hear from one of your students. What would you give us a little summary of what falconry is?
Go ahead. So, falconry is they use. I have a friend who does it. He takes his hawk out or falcon, and he'll hunt his falcon. He'll hunt pigeons and Hungarians.
Great. Very good. So it's using a bird to hunt with, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, let's watch the movie and then be thinking of all the questions you have for Colleen about how she shot the film, but also maybe just about falconry too. So let's go ahead and watch the film. Ready? Hopefully it'll work.
I couldn't hit anything with the shotgun, so I thought that I'd try this. And it turned out to be a lifelong passion, and a lot harder than any shotgunning ever turned out to be. But it sure gave me an understanding of conservation and the world. It takes a long time to get to do it. I've been doing it over 45 years, and I don't know that you're ever a master of the sport. There's lots of accidents in it. Anytime you put the bird up in the air, you risk losing it, having it killed on a fence, killed by an eagle, or run into by a car. So not too many people want to invest their heart into that, to have that kind of stuff happen, but it's kind of a way of life anymore. I keep journals. I weigh them twice a day, or before they eat, and I fly, and when I get back. That's how these birds are trained, through their stomach. How I ate and how I make it happen again. 35. Yeah, that's about right. The more you hunt with them, the more they trust you, depend on you. And when you put them up and they're flying, that's when they drop all of their fears of you and look at you as a hunting partner. Penny is a captive raised in autumn female peregrine. We've been working all winter on the balloon to get her to go to hunt. It's the training tool. I use a helium balloon and take bait up. And what that does is it gets her high in the air. Then she's starting to learn that her advantage is much better the higher she is. All right, sweetheart. She's gonna blast really quick. The height keeps her dominant over her quarry. If, for instance, she was only 200 feet, she might intimidate the quarry so it goes to the ground. Where if she's higher than 1,000 feet, then the quarry thinks it's got a chance and it tries to go. They always misjudge their speed. Boop. And here she comes. There we go, fishing. Fishing for falcons. How's my hard-working girl, huh? How's my hard-working girl? Look at you go. Looking at you. Come on, I got you. I got you. That's a girl. That's a girl. Before the mid-60s, you could shoot these raptors. People shot them as vermin. And then in the 60s, through the overuse of pesticides, they started noticing that the bird-eating ones were disappearing. DDT had wiped them all out, almost completely, and the only people that had them anymore were the falconers. Once we started breeding them in captivity, the Fish and Game started buying them from us to put back into the wild. The sport is taught through lots of conservation. If you don't leave some, there's nothing else to fly. Were you there to just kill it? No, you were there to fly it, to catch it. Whoa. Here. And it's a shame because it's a sport that it's definitely reduced in numbers. The current generation isn't into this. Nobody wants to put in the time. When you take that bird and you put it into a situation like in a building or tie it up, you're responsible for every need of its life. But no, it's enhanced my life tenfold. It makes you learn all of the things that Mother Nature does to put them on their way back into the wild. It's the closest thing to nature I can think of.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so that was my film, and that film allowed me to come to this festival and meet a bunch of different people in the industry. So, like, people who are also making documentaries who have been in this, trying to do this longer than I have, and I've been able to learn a lot from getting to be here. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about, like, the process of making the film. I don't know if you guys find that interesting, but just, like, some of the challenges and then also just some of the funny moments of it. So picking up from kind of where I started, so, like, I saw Sam in the newspaper, so I contacted him, and, like, pretty much I probably called him like 10 times before he let me like come over to his house and talk to him a little bit about the Falcons and that sort of thing. So like I definitely had to be persistent in calling him, and that's mainly because can anyone think of something about falconry that maybe like might be controversial or like that people wouldn't like about the sport? So asking you guys, can you guys think of anything?
How about more? Do you have anything that you might think might be controversial? Go ahead. More.
Well, like with hunting, some people don't like hunting just because of the sense that you're going out and killing something. Falconry is a form of hunting, so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they said hunting, and like I think actually with falconry you catch like way less than you do with a gun, because with a falcon you can only do so many flights every day. So so it's like a kind of more like conservation minded hunting strategy because you're not catching as much. But probably the thing that's most debated about falconry is because it's a wild animal that you're keeping in a cage. So that's a big deal. That's kind of like a big no-no to a lot of people. So Sam was really reluctant to let me film him because anytime you see a bird in a cage, you kind of can't help but feel really bad for it, because birds are supposed to be out in the wild. So I had to really build trust with Sam, to be like, I'm not going to, make you look like a horrible person. I'm just interested in what this is. And, and then eventually I got to start filming him. And then, so we met him at his house, and then it was me, and I think I brought one other person to help me film. And from there, from his house, we went to the falconry fields, like where he hunts with Penny. So Penny's the falcon's name. And it was really hard to film a bird while it's flying. Has anyone ever tried to just like take a picture of a bird like on a tree or something like that? That sort of thing. Well, I'm sure everybody has, at some point. So like trying to get footage of it flying was really hard. And with film, you have to wear a lot of different or carry with you audio, which is the sound that you're recording, the camera, and then usually I have some notes or whatever. So I'm just like running around with carrying all this stuff, trying to film them in the field. But it was really fun, It's just like a sports event. Like you're rooting for Penny to get her catch and that sort of thing. So that experience is really interesting. So if you guys...
Let's just pause for just a second. And
Okay.
we haven't heard from Lodgegrass for a while. So Lodgegrass, do you guys have a question right now about the filming of the falconry or anything that Colleen's talked about so far?
Does the falcon only get deer, birds?
Does it only catch birds?
Okay, yeah, I think it only catches birds, yeah.
That you saw.
Yeah. So, like, did you guys see those pigeons at Sam's house? Okay, so, like, Penny was just starting out, so she was just trying to catch that, like, dead bird on the balloon, right? As she gets better, as she, like, trains more, he'll take one of those pigeons and release it. And Penny will try to catch a live pigeon, like, in the air, which you kind of saw that shot. So, yeah, so mainly she is eating birds. Yes, correct.
Okay. Any other questions right now from the kids before we go any further? Either school, just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Okay, another one in Lodgegrass. Do we have another question in Lodgegrass?
Is it hard to train hawks?
Yeah, it's really hard, and it's like a 2-year process to be allowed to do it. So like you would have to get a falconer or someone who's already a trained falconer to work with you, and you would apprentice with them for 2 years before you got to raise your own, because they're so easy to kill accidentally. They're really hard to take care of. Like, you can think about this. This is something someone told me, like, you know, you saw Penny on their outdoor cage, right? So what if you were, like, at the gas station and it started hailing while your falcon was in its outdoor cage? It would essentially be pelted to death by hail. Like, that's horrible. So sorry, that's, like, might be kind of
No, that's
a
fine.
crude imagery, but you have to be very dedicated to the sport, and like Sam never goes on vacation or anything like that. He is always on call for the Falcons. So in order to like be approved to be an approved falconer, it's a lengthy process for that.
Great. Moore, did you have a question? Somebody does.
Okay.
Yeah.
More?
Do you think you learned anything about the relationship between humans and wildlife while making this?
Sure. So let's start talking about story a little bit. So like in the editing room, you know, I initially wanted to tell a story about like how birds' brains worked, because they like see the world really differently than how we see it. They have like super eyes, and like their brains actually like process images way faster than we do. So like so I was initially wanting to tell that story, and then in the editing room I saw more of the story about like Sam and Penny's relationship. So from there I focused on that, just like how Sam and Penny work together. And then just to take a step back from that and look at it from an environmental perspective, or like a different story that I was telling that's maybe like under the surface of this one, I think it's kind of about our relationship with nature. And it seems like the things that humans end up caring about and end up protecting are the ones that humans love the most. So I don't know if you guys have ever been to Yellowstone, but you'll see like, you know, people chasing down animals and like stuff like that to get a picture of it, and like different stuff like that, which is like upsetting, which I'm sure the animal doesn't like. But so I don't know, I was just kind of more, I don't really have an answer to that question. Like, is it a good thing that we like love, that he loves falcons so much that he like keeps one and trains one? I don't know, but at the same time, because falconers did love them so much, when falcons died out due to DDT, they were able to bring them back because falconers had them. So I think it's kind of like our relationship with nature is that kind of relationship. It's just we have to like keep people interested in it, but at the same time think about the wild and leaving the animal wild, and finding a balance within that.
Other questions, kids? More, go ahead.
How many attempts does it take for you to get a certain part of the footage you want?
Okay, good question. Let's see. I think I went out and filmed with Sam like 6 times. Just because, one, it was like really fun too. I mean, yeah, it was just really cool to see that happening, because I felt like I'm never gonna see this again. Like, you know, it's kind of a rare thing to be allowed to go to. But like to get the shots of the bird flying, that took quite a bit, because like they go really high up in the air, and if they go too high, you know, they're gonna look really small on your camera. So it just takes going back a lot to like get as much footage as you can. And I think that goes back to finding a project that you're passionate about from the beginning. Because if I was filming like a lawyer or something like that and had to go to like a courthouse every day, I'm not sure I'd be like that excited about it. But to go out to a falconry field every day, I was pretty excited about that.
Very cool. How about Lodge Grass has a question?
Can a falcon kill a deer?
Good question. Can it? I have no idea.
What do you think?
What do you think? I mean, I don't know.
I think it can.
I mean, never say never, but I would say, like, okay, so peregrine falcons, which is what Penny was, she was a peregrine falcon, they hunt their prey out of the air. So, like, that's what makes, so you guys have probably heard peregrine falcons are, like, the fastest flying bird. And that's because they kill their prey mid-air. So, Penny does not kill deer, I know that, but I don't know about, I can't speak for all birds of prey. So, okay.
Okay, how about film questions? Anybody else have filming questions before we continue on? Go ahead, Moore.
How long did it take you to film this video?
Good question. Okay, so I'm counting the months real fast. I think it took me, like, the filming itself only took 2 months, but, like, with editing and all that stuff, it would be, like, 5 months total. So, like, the editing really is, like, the bulk of it. Yeah.
And how long's the film?
The film is only 7 minutes long. So you do really have to be, like, interested in what you're doing to, like, complete a film. But I don't know. For me, it was definitely fun for me. And how we have our editing room set up, it's probably like how you guys have your computer room set up there in your high school or middle school, where you're there with all your friends and, like, so, I mean, the day goes by fast and we, like, hang out and talk to each other while we're working on our projects, so it's not so bad. Okay, I see another question.
Lodge Grass?
Lodge Grass.
Did it ever try to attack you?
Not me, but I, like, kept far enough away. But, like, they are wild animals, so, like, they will attack their owners, especially depending on where they are, like, in parts of the year. So, like, when birds shed, like, their plumage will leave them periodically throughout the year. So during that time, they're a little bit more, like, easy to be angered and that sort of stuff.
Cranky?
Cranky's a good word. Yeah.
Great. Okay, what else? Let's see. So you finished filming and you did your editing.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you get interested in putting it in a film festival?
Sure. So I think, like, your goal after you make a film is to have it in a film festival. Yeah, I just, like, went online and submitted my film, and that, I don't know, yeah, and then they get back to you and they say yes or no. And I don't know, when you're first starting out, it's probably like anything that you do, you don't know if you're gonna, like, do well or not. So I felt pretty lucky to get into the film festival and be able to meet all the people here and that sort of thing.
How about other projects, other films that you're working on?
Sure. So, trying to think. So, like, some other films that I've done are, like, I did a film about a town near where I live that was trying to stop, like, a stone quarry from going in, which is kind of interesting. Does anyone know what a stone quarry is? It's, like, where you get rocks for asphalt, but pretty much they were trying to put it in, like, by, like, a neighborhood, I don't know, and by, like, where a lot of people lived, and by, like, a campground. So it would shut down a lot of businesses in the town because they have to, like, blow up the rocks every time that they want to, like, get that. So, I mean, we need stone quarries, but that was one of the stories that I did. It was like, maybe this isn't the best place for it, sort of a story. But yeah, I mean, does anyone, like, have any stories that you want to tell, or is anyone, like, interested I don't know, in doing film work.
How about this? If you were to make a documentary film in more, what kinds of topics might be interesting to you to make a documentary film out of? How about more?
My friends and I in the summer, we try to make just short videos of us riding dirt bikes throughout the summer and anything else that we do.
Great. So things that you're involved in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So, like, something to think when you're making a film is, like, about the character. So you know this when you're writing as well. It's about building that character and, like, focusing on it and making that person entertaining. I don't know if you're just shooting the dirt bikes directly, but, like, if you found someone who was, like, a more interesting dirt biker, then, yeah, that could be a documentary, maybe. And then maybe you could go to a film festival. I don't know. You never know.
Let's give the students in both Moore and in Lodgegrass time, and I'm going to give you about 1 or 2 minutes just to turn and talk to each other about any questions you might have or any topics that you might want to make films out of. So about 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'll come back and call on each one of you, each school, and we'll get some ideas. Go ahead and talk to each other. Okay, let's hear some ideas. Let's go to Lodgegrass and hear any ideas or any other questions you have for Colleen. What would you make movies of in Lodgegrass?
Make basketball movies? Yeah.
Nice.
Basketball movies, awesome. Is it basketball divisionals this week, you guys?
We're going to state.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to state.
Oh, you're going to state. Woohoo! Okay, well, I think we have our documentary in the works then there. Sounds good. Any other questions, Lodgegrass, that you have for Colleen?
What made you start filming?
Good question. Go ahead.
Well, I think I think to be a documentary filmmaker, you have to be really, like, a passionate person and really, like, I don't know, I think everybody knows that person that, like, just keeps arguing back with them and will never stop, never change their opinion and keep arguing. I think I'm kind of that person in a lot of ways, but I found a better outlet than, like, annoying my friends about it, you know? So I found a way to, like, communicate with the world about my opinions in a way that's, like, entertaining, but also allows me to, like, look into the issue more. So, like, I really like it because I can learn about things, and I can continue to learn about things my entire life, you know? I just need to make a film about it, and I can keep seeing all the angles to different issues. Because, you know, Falconry, when I went into it, I definitely didn't know it was so controversial. It was through, you know, I called all the raptor rehabilitation centers to ask them if they wanted to be interviewed for the project. And a lot of them said, no, we have kind of like a complicated relationship with falconers. So they are taking in falcons that falconers have abused to make them strong again, strong enough to go back into the wild, while at the same time falconers are helping train those birds to get them back into the wild. So I think, like, the more you learn about an issue, the more complicated it becomes. And I don't know, I kind of like that and like trying to tackle stories like that.
Excellent. Why film instead of writing books?
Sure. I like film because I think everybody has seen like the behind the scenes stuff on sets and that sort of thing, like seen little videos about that, and you're working with a team. So like I really like having a bunch of people that we're like coordinating with, and it's just like it's more of a team process. So like you're not like alone, in your writer's nook like writing. You're like out there with different people, and like with Sam, I spent like most of the time was with me and Sam, like so I'm with someone, and I'm not like, and I'm getting to have that one-on-one time with them, and yeah, I enjoy that.
Great. Looks like there's some in Lodge Grass that have to go. Is that right, you guys? Lodge Grass?
Okay.
Thanks
Nice
for
meeting
hanging
you guys.
in there. Good to meet you. Let's go to Moore. And Moore, do you have questions for Colleen or stories to tell? Go ahead.
We've made a shop safety video, and then in March we have an upcoming ski trip, and we are gonna plan to make a video about that throughout the day.
Okay, cool. So are you guys just using your phones and like iMovie, or like what are you using to shoot and edit that?
We have 2 GoPros, and then we use a phone or an iPad, and then just edit it on iMovie.
Okay, cool. And then are you guys doing sound for that, or like or are you just like putting music under it and that sort of stuff?
It just depends. We kind of do a mixture of both.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to get started, and something, when you're that age, if you're doing anything, that's incredible. That's amazing. Like you're definitely doing more than what I was doing at that age. But like something that I like to do to like keep making my films better is like, this isn't the first cut that you saw of my film. I had my parents, I had my friends watch it, and whenever they said, okay, I'm getting bored here, or like, this doesn't make sense to me, I really like took that critique and was like, okay, I'm going to fix it and make it better and make it not boring or make it make sense and that sort of thing. So that's a way to just continue to improve your filmmaking. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Any other questions more? Or comments?
Okay. Yep.
Go ahead.
How have you been making films?
How long? Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so the first narrative film that I made was, sorry, I'm getting kind of older now. It was like, it was like 5 years ago was the first narrative film that I made in school. I mean, I guess I'd made like what you guys are saying. I had made like some shorter video projects with my friends, mainly like the funniest stuff that you would watch on YouTube, I don't know, like that sort of stuff, so not really like films. But then, yeah, so like the first narrative film that I made was 5 years ago, and then I made my first documentary 4 years ago. And in that one was about a town, it was the Stone Quarry one, about a town where I live. So like every time I don't know, I'm still like friends with all the people that I worked with on that film, and like every time I come back, like, I go and get dinner with them and stuff. So it really is kind of like a friendship and that sort of thing. But yeah, so it does take a while to get good at it. So don't be like upset with yourself if you don't make like a cinematic marvel, the first time, for sure.
Other questions more?
Okay.
What are your plans for the future?
Okay, yeah. Well, my plans for the future are, so I still have 1 semester of school left, of grad school, and then after that I have to do my thesis project. And then I'll probably apply for jobs like that are similar to like National Geographic and that sort of thing. Or I'll try to do documentary work on my own, but it's really hard to be an independent documentary filmmaker, so usually you do projects you do 2 projects. You do your documentary, but then you also work for
So
a
see
company.
that class is joined
Company.
in, this class is joined in.
Molly, kick whoever that is. Okay.
See the classes?
Hi.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, we're in a live conference right
Oh.
now. Just mute your microphone and enjoy. So anyway, good.
So
Good
yeah,
questions.
yeah. So like the next project that I want to do for my thesis one is like about this lady who lives on an island off of Georgia, and she's like lived in this hut her whole life protecting like sea turtle nests that lay their eggs along that beach, because there's wild hogs that were they're not native species to the island, but they were brought there, and they like dig up the turtle eggs and eat them, and like pretty much all sea turtles are endangered. So I don't know, yeah. So like I want to tell her story because she just sounds like a really interesting person. So like that's the film that like it's like kind of weird being a filmmaker, because I'm not like, I'm gonna definitely work for National Geographic my entire life, because I'm kind of like, I want to do this project next, and then the project I want to do after that is this project, and that's kind of how I think of it. But there are people who are just like, no, I want to work for PBS, and they go and get they go and work for PBS their whole life, or they're like, no, I just want to work for National Geographic, and they do that their whole life. So it just kind of depends what type of person you are.
It looks like we have a few students still in Lodge Grass. Are any of those students, do you have questions?
Okay.
Ask the question. Ask the question.
You said you were gonna ask a question.
Ask
we might
it.
have
Ask it.
Yeah.
Deal, call that. And he's just holding the button.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Hey,
Well-
Kiana's being dumb. Yeah.
Okay.
Mute your
Hurry up,
microphone.
Kiana, ask a question.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Sure. I guess I'll just end by saying, like, if you want to be a filmmaker, the way to get better now, one of the ways to get better that I still use to get better is watching films, watching documentaries, and being a really active watcher of it, being a really active viewer. So, like, I'll have my notebook in front of me, and I'll be like, what you've learned in English class, the inciting incident of a story, the 3 acts of a story, first act, second act, third act, all go, because documentaries are set up like that. Any film is, even narrative film. So like I'll go through and start marking where those points are happening, start marking what I like about the characters, that sort of thing, because that's going to help me when I'm trying to shape my story and ultimately get me out of the editing room earlier, which is what I want at the end of the day.
Great. Final questions? More?
Hey, on the movie, guy really hunts with.
Sorry, you broke up a
Well,
little
I'm
bit.
holding.
Yeah.
On the movie, did that guy really hunt with falcons?
Yeah.
Or the video?
Yes.
I know, but they're saying it. All
Yes,
right.
he really did use falcons to hunt. Okay, and then I think there was a question from Moore. Yep.
What's your favorite documentary?
Good question. There's a lot of really good ones, but Hands on a Hard Body is my favorite, and it's really funny. It's like a competition film. It's like one of the first of its kind, where these like people in Texas compete to win a truck, and they have to keep their hands on this truck for like days to win it, and it's whoever makes it till the end gets the truck. But I think they had, like, talking about story and character, just great character development and that sort of thing. And I love to laugh, and I love documentaries that make me laugh. And there's a lot of ones that are very serious, but I think it's important to let people laugh and bring in that humor, because life is pretty funny, you know, and people love watching funny stuff. So, yeah.
Great. Well, Colleen, thank you so much. Students, can we give her a round of applause? Yay.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And,